Seeing as the first two videos on this channel have been dedicated to me losing 160 pounds and the amount of loose skin it's now left me with, I think it's only right now to go through a day in the life of how I got so fucking enormous in the first place. So today I'm going to live the life as me as an 18-year-old college student who treated every calorie like his last. And throughout the video I'll go through some tips and advice if you're also in this horrible cycle of overeating on a daily basis. And if you're looking to get into the weight loss process, I'll give some advice of what I'll do differently now. First thing after waking up in the morning, I'd go upstairs to the toilet, not to weigh myself, obviously. I had a restraining order on the scale. If I got too close to it, my lymph nodes would start swelling up. That would be the first thing I would actually change. I would go on the scale, not every day of the week, maybe twice per week, once at the start of the week and once at the back end of the week, just to see what the scale number is saying and if it's going up too quickly, and then just become a bit more mindful how much I actually am eating and how little I'm moving around, and change accordingly. And hopefully, as I keep on weighing myself, that my weight at least stays a bit more stagnant rather than keep on going up and up and up. So after avoiding the scale, I'd then have a shower, which benefit nowadays is I don't have to parallel park myself into the bath just to wash myself. But then after that, I wouldn't actually eat anything straight away. I'd save myself until I was at college, then start eating, which would be the second thing I would change. I'd make sure to eat something first thing in the morning, even if it's just some fruit. Fruit's high in fiber, which helps keep you fuller for longer, takes longer to digest. I'd also have a lot of water, which helps fill the stomach up, just so when later on in the day when I do start eating, I'm not absolutely ravenous. So after that, I was either dropped off to college in the morning or I just took the bus myself. I did no exercise, stating the obvious there. Lukaku's got a shit first touch. Rolf Harris is a paedophile, and I had the same BMI number as the same age as the women Wayne Rooney likes to shag. There'd probably be more chance of Harvey Price running for Prime Minister than there would be me getting in the extra steps in a day. So I went from waking up in the morning to doing my morning shit, then sitting on the bus or car to the college, then sitting on my ass for 7 hours during college. I was sitting down more than Rosa Parks ever was. So, and that'll be the third thing I'll change. I'd make sure to get some extra steps in during the day, even if I was dropped off to college in the morning, but I would make sure to walk back of the afternoon, just to increase my calorie expenditure, putting me more in a deficit and cancelling out some of the calories I would eat during the day. I'm back home now from my hometown of Barking, which is where I used to go to college. I was actually going to record up there, but to be honest, the place is an absolute shithole. It's full of absolute freaks and weirdos. You don't know who you're going to run into, a drug dealer, a mental homeless person, or someone that looks like the second coming of the Elephant Man. The actual place itself, its biggest claim to fame is boxing promoter Frank Rowan getting shot outside the Broadway Theatre. So I was going to record up there actually. But as I was walking around my local college, in around about a 5-minute walk of being up there, I saw a Greggs, a McDonald's, a Subway, a bakery, and a couple of cafes. Me in my prime moments, fat days, I was like a whore in a cucumber patch, spoilt for choice. And my weapon of choice would be going to Greggs. So I got a baguette, some crisps, and some cookies, which comes to a grand total of 1,472 calories, which is just fucking mental when I think about it. I'd say the baguette and the crisp on their own isn't too bad, but I don't really need these cookies, though, do I? There's a point of diminishing returns of just about everything in life. Religion's great, but just don't be an extremist. So I'm going to have all that now, and I'll come back to you once what I'm having next. Right, I've just got done eating all that, and fuck me, do I feel sick and disgusting now. I've even decided to have a lay down and take my top off after eating all that. It's absolutely grim. I can't believe a few years ago I could eat all that and have room for more, but at the moment I'm more full than a telephone box with Lizzo and Gemma Collins in it, so I'm happy I haven't got to eat now for a couple of hours. I'll probably eat again around about 3 o'clock-ish, so I'll see you back for that. So it's around about 3 o'clock now, which would usually be the end of the college day. But just before you could leave college, you could go down to the canteen and pick up some food if you wanted to. Mainly a sandwich is what I've got here, just a ham sandwich, which is 244 calories. But when I got home, this is when the real demolition job began on eating and consuming so many calories. I was like the Germans going through Poland the way I'd raid that kitchen out there. And with that, I picked up some Jaffa cakes, which, they are quality, to be fair. I do love Jaffa cakes. Reduce your chances of getting cancer as well, according to Carl Pilkington. Not sure how legit that is, but what I do know is that these are 576 calories, so it's a lot of calories and they're not particularly filling. All this food, I'm eating it in one big quantity and it does fill you up a lot, but these things on their own isn't very filling. It goes through you like a depressed white teenager from America going through ammunition on his classmates. But and that'll be one of the things I would change is eating some food that is a lot more filling, so a lot of fruits and vegetables, because this stuff on its own, it isn't enough. In amongst this trip down memory lane, this sort of nostalgia of living like my 18-year-old self again, I decided to play some FIFA. Big fucking mistake. I'm absolutely seething with the game I've just played. Uh, I've been matched up against someone that can be only described as some sort of monotron, right? Who's taking it out on me that his dad's cheating on his mum with a new secretary at work or something like that. And every time he scores a goal, he invisibly puts off and on his players' fucking glasses. That honestly, the franchise now is doing my fucking head in. If FC 26 is the shit as FC 25 was, that's it. I'm not bothering anymore. Well, that being said, I have paid £90 for the pre-order of the new game, but if it's anything like this year, truth be told, I think I'd rather play with Katie Hopkins clicked than play this fucking game. So that's enough of that. I need to get that off my chest. I'm going to continue eating. I've eaten a couple of more crisps. That's a couple of extra 100 calories. I will tally all this and show you it at the end of the day, or probably tomorrow morning, actually. But yeah, it's not going well at the moment. A few hours have passed now since that last clip. It's around about 5 o'clock now, which is usually around about dinner time for me. And I've allotted for a chicken burger and chips takeaway. The place did look a bit ropey, to be fair. I mean, one of the benefits of looking like you have a Make-A-Wish to hand is that if there's any hair in the food, you know it's not come from me. So, and I used to have a lot of takeaways when I was overweight. I'd usually have maybe 2 or 3 a week. And and another tip I would give, if you are someone who do has a lot of takeaways, I wouldn't completely eliminate them straight away. That's going to be too unrealistic. You're going to crave them and just go back to how you was. But slowly trying to cut them out. So let's say you're having 3 a week at the moment, just try and go down to 2, then eventually down to 1. It's going to be way more realistic and way more sustainable than outright cutting them out. Another bit of advice I'll give if you are going to have a meal like this is to reduce the amount of calories around that meal. And what I mean by that is reducing the amount of calories you have with the drink you've had with the meal. So instead of having a full calorie Pepsi or Coke or alcoholic drink, replace it with some water or something like that, or just a lower calorie alternative. Also with the sauces you have with the meal, so something like mayonnaise, for example, you can reduce the amount of calories you get from that just by having a lower calorie alternative. And doing this is going to mitigate the high amount of calories you could have had with that meal. So I'm going to have my dinner now, which this does come to about 730 calories around about there. And I will probably continue to snack throughout the evening because that's what I used to do anyway. But I'm not going to record all that. And instead, tomorrow morning, I'm going to give you an overview of the entire day and the amount of calories I did eat. So that's the morning after now. And just for full transparency, I just had my morning evacuation on the toilet. And it was about as much fun as being a homosexual Jew in 1940, to be honest. Now I'm just going to go over the entire day and how I felt, which was mainly being very lethargic and very sweaty. I mean, yesterday the weather was absolutely lovely outside, and I just didn't want to go out after eating all that food, which pretty much means not going out and not exercising would be not burning off any of them calories I was eating. So the total amount in the end came to 3,500 calories for the entire day. And if my maintenance around that sort of time period would have been 3,000, that means I would have been a 500 calorie surplus. So across a week, that would have been £1 of fat gained, and across the entire year, that would have been £52 gained just from being in that small calorie surplus every single day. It might not have been like that all the time, of course. Sometimes it might have been less, sometimes it might have been more. But obviously, in general, I was in such a surplus where I kept putting on weight. One of the issues I had with the diet is that it wasn't very high in protein or fiber. This is important because protein and fiber keeps you more full and satiated compared to any other macronutrient. So if you are going to work, college, or wherever, you can just take stuff with you. So stuff like chicken, stuff like lean mince, fruits, so strawberries, bananas, apples, and just having these little snacks throughout the day is going to help you keep you more full and stop you from snacking on other stuff that doesn't keep you full or just adds a lot more calories to your daily amount. And one of the things that did surprise me about the diet was just how many of those calories come from fat. I think it was 143 grams in total, and this is important. This is important because per 1 gram of fat equals to 9 calories. So in total, that equals to 1,287 calories just from fat alone in the diet, compared to protein, which has 4 calories per gram, and that contributed to 404 calories for the entire day. Whereas, as we just talked about, protein keeps you more satiated and keeps you more full. So prioritizing things like protein and fiber over stuff like fat and carbohydrates is important. I'll finish this video on is if you are someone who is stuck in this horrible constant cycle of overeating on a daily basis, it's something you definitely can get out of. Because this is something I was stuck in for a very, very long time, and it definitely can be broken. It's just about taking small steps every single day rather than being perfect all the time, which is intimidating and impossible. Because we overeat because it makes us feel comfortable, because we're insecure maybe how we look and how much we do weigh. But the more we do eat, the more weight we're going to put on. So it's a constant toxic cycle that we are all stuck in, but it definitely can be broken. and hopefully some of the tips or advice I gave in this video can help you get out of this cycle.